What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards Football Sports Talk Radio. I'll be your host and producer this afternoon, Logan Landers, and joining me here this afternoon to talk about the very impressive wide receiver prospect coming out of Ole Miss, Tre Harris. Helping me out today is the one and only Brian LaBelle. Brian, how you doing this afternoon, man? And give me your thoughts on Tre Harris. What did you learn while you were doing your scouting footage on him over the last week?
I mean, Ole Miss got an absolute steal when he transferred there. It was if he could have stayed healthy the last third of the season, kind of thinking what could have happened for them. But there were times on film where it just seemed like Jackson Dart just were looking at him, hey, you go deep and I'm gonna throw you the ball, and it worked more times than it didn't. He's 6'3", big target. He's got good hands. He's got really good speed for his size. He's got good run after the catch for his size as well. I mean, everything that it was nothing really negative on film that I could see. Everything just looked really good. I mean, it helps when you're playing in Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin's offense. Obviously, that's gonna prop him up a little bit. But I mean, the tape jumps out at you. It's I think he's the fourth ranked receiver right now. That could obviously change with a really good combine. But you can't teach 6'3". You can't teach the speed that he has, and it's just it's hard to see him not being either a day one or an early day two pick at this juncture.
Yeah, and the way that Tre Harris's career has went, like I said, he started off his career at Louisiana Tech, played there in 2020, which I mean, hey, 2020 was a crazy year, so he had one stat of one catch for 20 yards, so that's how he started off his career, and he got a whole lot better than that. I can tell you that much. In 21, he played Louisiana Tech, same with 22. Had some good numbers. His final year at Louisiana Tech, 65 grabs, 935 in terms of yardage, 10 touchdowns, which is still a career high for him. And he averaged. That's the thing that I've always liked about Tre Harris is, like you said, if you look at the average per catch, it is always going to be up there. I mean, I'm just going to list them off. So 14.3, 14.4, 18.2 in 23, and this past season 17.2. So this guy is pretty much a guaranteed first down in almost two of them whenever he goes and grabs the ball. And like I said, he had an impressive year this year. 60 catches, second most in his career. For he finally got over the 1,000-yard plateau as well with 1,030, and he had seven touchdowns. So he put in some very consistent work at Louisiana Tech, and he got even better at Ole Miss. And I think that's a credit to stepping up the level of competition, getting just better quarterbacks, better offensive coordinators. But wherever he went, Brian, it felt like he shined, and he did so very well. But I mean, like I said, he's a big guy. He's around 6'3", 200, 210. Like he's got a good frame on him already. It's not like he needs to bulk up or anything along those lines. You can see on the photos here, he's already lean and in shape, and he's a good. He like I said, he's a good outside receiver. If you just throw him anything near the sticks or anything near the sidelines, he can go and get it pretty much with some of the best of them already in this draft. He's got really good body control, as you said. If he's in the air, he's not flailing around. He knows where to put his hands. He knows where to land inbounds as well. And I think that helps too. That he's got good speed. I mean, he's got pretty solid footwork as well. So I mean, he's a receiver that I feel like isn't getting a ton of love for some reason.
I think where we're at now, I think because of Tyreek Hill and Leoto Beckham Jr. used to get a lot of teams that fall in love with these, maybe smaller, speedier receivers that can maybe you have a lot more. It's even evolved beyond West Coast. Teams are going to throw the ball sometimes 50 to 60 times a game. You don't even bat an eye, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in the college game, you're going to get a lot of these underneath routes, a lot of this, hey, let's get a drag route, let's get a crossing route, let's get a guy a quick screen, something like that, and let's get him in space and let him run. He doesn't really do that. He's more traditional. Like I was saying earlier, it's, hey, go deep. And Jackson Dart was like, I'm gonna find you. If it's one-on-one, you're getting the football. And that's what it seemed like the whole season. He missed about a month, which was a discredit to him, but he still had 7 touchdowns and over 1,000 yards. He was still averaging, about 8 catches a game before
Mm-hmm.
that. I mean, in the SEC, he earlier on they had their cupcakes, but he dominated. It was like a man against children out there in the backyard Thanksgiving game because it was just they couldn't stop him. And I think that's a testament to, I think he put in a lot of work to be able to say, hey, listen, I got a chance to go to Ole Miss. I got a chance to make my name, something that NFL scouts have to look at hopefully early on. And I think he succeeded in that. I know he tried to come back for Ole Miss, the Florida game, where he goes up and he gets spun around. You can just tell immediately because he had that groin issue and it was just, it looked bad. And you feel bad for him in that instance. But I think he did enough and he showcased enough when he was healthy Because, when he's on the field, Ole Miss there was a stretch there for about a month where we're saying, hey, this might be the best team in the country. And he spearheaded that offense. So, I mean, tip your cap to him. I mean, I as an NFL team, I can't really look at him. If he's there and I have a needed receiver, why would I not take a chance on him?
Yeah, I feel like Trey is a player who's going to be he's going to be getting a lot of touchdowns in the NFL because in the red zone is where he does his work. I mean, he's got, like I said, again, his route running was just, you could say simple, you could say, not as complex as other ones, but hell, as long as you can get in the end zone, I don't care how you do it. I don't care if you run 10 yards in a curl route. As long as you can get me 6 points on the board, that's all I need. And like I said, with that ability he has, with his physicality, with his body control, with his good hands, also you don't see him drop a whole lot of passes. That is what teams are looking for in the end zone. If you can throw a fade to him, if you need a jump ball, he can go get it. So I think that like I said, he does have that big playability. I think it's definitely going to pay off in the NFL. He's a solid player overall. Good short quickness, right? If you need a nice slant route, he can get you there. In terms of long-term speed, maybe he's not, like a Tyreek Hill or anything, but I don't feel like that's a negative aspect. It's not like he's slow by any means necessary. He just doesn't have that, that I would say that second level that you see guys, like I said, like Tyreek or any of their quicker receivers in the league have. But he's still someone that can go out there and get you a first down with some of the best of them, I think, coming into this draft. But, Brian, what are your final thoughts on Trey Harris here today, the very impressive wide receiver coming out of Ole Miss?
Well, like you said, the next level speed isn't maybe top tier. There were two or three instances where he got hawked down inside the 5. He could have probably had 2 or 3 more touchdowns on the year, which would have looked a little bit better. But I mean, he's 6'3". For a guy his size, what he's able to do is already very impressive. He's very good at using his body to create separation as well, which is one thing I noticed, which is that's an NFL caliber thing. That's what guys, receiver coaches and scouts are going to look at. They're going to say, hey, he's big. He knows he's big, and he uses it to his advantage. That's why you see a lot of these basketball players that played power forward or in the post, they transfer really well at the next level. And he already kind of plays that. He exhibits that. I mean, the talent is there. The numbers were there for how many games he played. If you look at the sample size, I know it's kind of small for, but he came in the SEC and he was, flash in a pan. He was great. There's not much more else he can do or say to be like, hey, look at me. It's the tape is there. So
I think his name speaks for itself with the work he's done. Someone who came into college, by the way, just as a 2-star recruit. So it wasn't like he was highly recruited. He had to work his way up, like we mentioned. He started off at Louisiana Tech, did some good work there, and then went to the big boys in the SEC, and he did even better work there with Ole Miss. And I know that Jackson Dart, he'll be missed there at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin's going to miss this guy here as well on the screen, Trey Harris, who was a tremendous wide receiver for them, but I think, honestly, Brian, this is a guy who could go maybe day one, to be honest with you. If just seeing how the draft goes, you never know, because I think he has that home run ability of just really good possession, can get you touchdowns if need be. Like I said, with that impressive just yards per catch, I'll take that any day. But realistically, I think he is I would lock him for day 2.
Yeah.
I think that maybe day 1 if things kind of fall, but I think day 2 for sure is where this young man will get drafted. And I think he's going to be a good player. I think he's someone who is going to work hard at it and can put up some really good numbers for whoever drafts him. Atlanta. I think it would be a good fit for, honestly, whoever. He's just a plug-and-play type of receiver, I think, that you can throw him in any route tree, and I think he could make it work. So I think that, that's been our thoughts on Trey Harris, and we both think he's going to be a good receiver in the NFL. He proved it in college. Like I said, unfortunately, he had a nagging injury at the end of the season there that caused him to miss some time, but it's nothing, he can't come back from. Thankfully, it wasn't anything major along those lines, but I'm excited to see how he's going to do. Well, hey, for my co-host today, Brian LaBelle, I appreciate you coming on the show, talking about Trey Harris, the talented wide receiver coming out of Ole Miss. I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Guys, if you enjoy the episode today, please like, follow, share, and subscribe on Facebook, YouTube, and go and download our podcast each and every single week on Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever it is you enjoy listening to your shows. Once again, for Brian LaBelle, I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Until next time, we'll see you again